Like everything else that's important, if you're going to give performance feedback, you need to plan for it. And in this video, I'll show you how. The first thing to think about in planning your performance feedback is the feedback you're going to give. And for that, you need to ask yourself a number of questions. What are the observations that you want to feed back? What are the specific opportunities for performance improvement? What would be the consequences of either making those changes or not making those changes, both for the person that you're giving the feedback to and for the wider organisation? What supporting evidence do you have, and which is the most powerful that you will cite when giving examples? And what does this performance mean to you? You're giving feedback on something you've observed, so how do you feel about it? Of course, you won't be mentioning this if you've decided to give non-judgmental feedback. We'll come to that decision in a moment. Next, what are some of the appropriate follow-up actions that you would expect to discuss after you've given your feedback? And finally, what would be the appropriate follow-up after the feedback session? And what commitments are you going to be able to make to the person you're giving the feedback to? Next, you need to think about when you're going to give the feedback and how you're going to give the feedback. And for this, I have another 10 questions, a structured process for planning a formal feedback session. First, be absolutely clear what the purpose is for the meeting. And secondly, as a result, what would constitute a successful feedback meeting? Third, think about what type of feedback you will give. Is it going to be judgmental, non-judgmental, critical, positive, balanced, comparative? Almost certainly it will be formal. And then, how will you give your feedback? Fifth, where is the best place to hold the feedback session? And sixth, what room layout will work best? And I'll put a link below in the description to a video I made on one-on-one meetings and the different psychological impacts of room layout. Seventh, when will you hold the meeting? And eighth, how much time will you allow for it? You'll need to allow enough time to spell out your observations and listen to the other person's perspective on what you've said. There'll need to be time for you to ask them questions and, importantly, for them to ask you any questions that they need to ask to understand your feedback. And then there needs to be time for you to discuss whatever actions follow from that feedback. And finally, a short amount of time to summarise the conversation. Ninth, you need to think about how you're going to structure the meeting. I've given you an outline, but there are a number of ways you could vary that and enhance it to fit the needs and the culture of your organisation. And finally, think about the follow-up that you'll need and when you're going to schedule that. A good formal feedback session needs planning. You can't go in unprepared and expect it to go really well. A little bit of time thinking about the important questions and preparing will make sure that you get the most bang for your buck when you give your feedback. Please do give a thumbs up if you like this video. There's loads more great management courses content to come, so please do subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of that content. I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video, and in the meantime, keep learning.